I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Oscar parties not on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched prime rib glitter under heat lamps in the dark near Tannhauser Gate. All those moments will go out in time, just like Stan Cherra's brain. Time to die. End of an era, folks. End of an era.
One of the greats. One of the all-time greats. A guy who redefined posting. A guy who literally posted his way to the presidency.
I see, like everyone knows what this is about. Everyone knows that Donald Trump has been banned. But, I'm already seeing people trying to take the mantle. Like, have you seen the new K-Hive thing where they're, like, yelling at Vogue for using the wrong picture of Kamal on the cover? It's like, no, you're just trying to take Trump's thing of having, like, some confusing, boring feud with a fashion magazine. You can't do it like him.
He spent, 6 months fixated on getting Rob Pattinson to break up with Kristen Stewart because she'd already cheated on you once. She's going to do it again like a dog. Trust me. Take it from me. Once a cheater, you're always a cheater. You can do better, Rob.
The rats are already crawling out of the wood. Graydon Carter made his first post on Twitter ever.
What a bitch move.
What a fucking pussy. It's finally safe for him.
Yeah, he thinks that's a savage move. That makes me look cool right now. Like, you were afraid to post your entire life because the real estate imbecile was there.
He was he's really reading me the riot act on my bad food restaurants. I can't show my face here.
I mean, there are so many good ones, and when that
washed up psycho Bette Midler.
when the permabanned president became like a real thing, and not something we said on the show a week ago.
45 is real.
It's just they all, like I said, like tears in the rain, like all those tweets. Just started,
thankfully,
going through my
I think
brain.
those are all public records, so they're all you can access them at the Library of Congress.
If they had been does the Library of Congress contain all the posts he did before he was president?
Yeah, the Library of Congress, I believe, record like a good chunk of Twitter posts. So I think a prominent figure like him would definitely be in there.
I'm just saying, like, if I have to think about all of his tweets about like the Diet Coke tweet, all the Graydon Carter tweets, if I had to think about those just being washed away, it's like the fire at the Great Library of Alexandria. I mean, like the loss to human knowledge and culture that it would represent would be staggering.
I was really happy someone saved 3 of my favorite posts he ever made. And these aren't as popular as Wash Up Psycho Bette Midler or Sissy Graydon Carter, but the one that was just like a total aside, like I think the person he most reminds me of is my 100-year-old grandmother, like the way he just like brings up stories in the middle of them. And it was the one where he goes, Victoria's Secret reps are very nasty to Kate Upton, but now she's doing great. That one, his repeated posts about how sick he was of seeing the Smokey the Bear ad. And he asked, who's paying? He said, who's funding this? Who's paying for this Smokey?
Who's funding these tedious Smokey the Bear commercials? Tedious is such a perfect word there.
Yeah, and then
it's like Harvey Firestein's like, oh my God, so tedious.
And
Smokey the Bear.
Speaking of Harvey Firestein, this is his most Firestein post. It was the one where he went, New York Fashion Week used to be so exciting, but now it's so boring. No one takes risks. No big stars. Most masculine president.
You don't see draping anymore.
Most masculine president in history.
Yep.
An alpha's alpha.
You know how you know he's a true poster is he never deleted his old posts, even from his pre-woke period.
Yeah, no, he was a pimp on that. He was a Kyle Kalinske on that one.
He had a very pre-woke tweet that was like, if those idiots had just waited to attack Charlie Hebdo, it would have folded. They're idiots who didn't make any money.
And also, like a true poster, the day it happened, like you could like it was like one of his like Trump like PR guys, like Ron Bobart or something, I forget his name, was already trying to do ban evasion. And he was just like, just sent you my email and password. Let's see if this works. And like with the Trump photo and everything. So like, folks, be on the lookout for just like Trump alt accounts, like, you know, not real Donald Trump, punished Trump, Trump wiki feed, you know.
Hi, this is real double underscore Donald Trump. Patriots, continue the fight. Please send boob pictures to my DM.
Eduardo Bolsonaro, Jair Bolsonaro's son, changed his Avi to Donald Trump's face and said, I'm never gonna change my profile picture now because like I have to take a stand for him, which is like, fellas, is it gay to use his face forever on Twitter because he got banned?
God, I love the Bolsonaros.
That's to me. Trump getting banned from Twitter was like that was a top 5 day in the Trump presidency. Like, you know, like that's up there with him getting COVID. I mean, like, there are a few moments that it rose
We're
that
living
high.
in a content gold mine right now.
And you know, you got to know, like Trump he's not feeling this. And like the idea was like, oh, like he'll go on Parler, and we can talk about what happened to Parler in a second. But the funny thing about that is that like he would fucking hate that because like the only people on Parler are the low class pigs who support him and who love him.
Yeah.
Or I guess now half of them don't love him.
Of the people who love him, he takes that for granted, and in fact, detests those who would be stupid enough to be tricked by him. It's everyone who hasn't yet capitulated that he needs.
Yeah. Did you see the thing that happened like the day of the Capitol Hill riot or whatever, where there was like high level Trump source, like, you know, one of these high placed anonymous sources was like Trump was very upset by what he saw on the TV. It was no class.
Yeah.
It was a very low class.
Very low class. He's got a shirt on. Nipples protruding. Oh, Q Shaman, nipples protruding on the floor of the house. Very disrespectful.
More fallout though from the Capitol Hill riot. This is from Maggie Haberman. And you want to talk about things that have like I know are like sending Trump into like a real misery hole. It says a lot has happened in the last week, including the president losing his Twitter feed, impeachment coming to the fore, and the PGA withdrawing from Trump National. He's, quote, gutted by the PGA move, a close source of the White House says. So they're not going to play the PGA Championship at the Bedminster Golf Course. He's getting snubbed by the beautiful PGA.
The golf people that he loves, the beautiful PGA.
Those are high-class people. Those are not low-class pigs like the ones who were storming the Capitol.
He's got to be flashing back to when he wasn't allowed to buy an NFL franchise.
Oh, man. And then, I brought up, like, okay, like, maybe, Trump will just hop on Parler now to get his message out. Well, no, because, like, apparently Parler's gone, too. But gone in a pretty spectacular way. Like, I mean, it was like Apple, Google, and then Amazon like yanked all of their hosting or like took them out of the App Store. But then like on the way out, it turned out a hacker like basically ripped 70 terabytes worth of user data from Parler before it went down, including like names, addresses, locations, state IDs. Because I wasn't aware of this. Like at some point, Parler to like create an account, there's some verification process that involved uploading photos.
Yeah, if you wanted a blue check, basically, you had to give them your social security
social security number.
If you wanted to like do things like DM, you would have to do that as well. It wasn't just to get a check mark, just to like use the basic functionality of the site.
Sounds kind of worth it to me.
I mean, yeah, those posts were fire.
Yeah,
like the My Pillow guy just live tweeting F Troop. Good stuff.
I'm just thinking of all the people who made like parody, like trolling Parler accounts, who now are thinking of the fact that like their entire like digital profile has been ripped by some hacker.
You know what?
I don't know.
You know what Parler was closest to, like in functionality and like user privileges. It was closest to like the Something Awful forums, where you have to pay like an extra $10 to use search.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the first political movement of solely goon projects.
I see a lot of people freaking out about Parler, about how like this is where the terrorists are organizing. But every single screenshot that I've seen from Parler has just been like the lowest content from like that you can already find on Twitter. It's just like the lowest effort QAnon shit.
Yeah, they just do the thing of like you're gonna get yours. Patriots need to arm them. It's like you can get that anywhere.
Or shit that's like, hey, let's make sure people can see this, reparlor this, so that to check how many people are on this site. Like just the dumbest like tricking grandma crap. And
reparlor this.
But the way people talk about it, it's like this is like the way the Green Revolution used Twitter.
Speaking of Parler, I mean, like one of the things that like got them before the Amazon just like yanked their entire like hosting, the thing that got them kicked off like the Apple App Store was all of the people advocating for Mike Pence to be executed, and chief among them was a guy.
Lin Wood
Lin Wood.
One.
We got to talk about Lin Wood, man, because like I forgot to bring this up last week because there's just too much stuff to talk about. But like the saga of Lin Wood is a fascinating one, and one that is like straight in the Chapo mythos.
What an American tale!
I have I had totally forgotten. Like I knew at one point, and then it just like left my brain before looping back around in this latest incident. Lin Wood is the guy Sam Rockwell played in Richard Jewell. Like Sam Rockwell portrayed the actual Lin Wood, the guy who defended Richard Jewell from the federal government, went on to be the Lin Wood to get Parler banned for calling for the execution of Mike Pence on a social media network. And he was the guy. Lin Wood has been wiling out on Parler up before. I mean, like he was the one saying shit about like he said John Roberts was on video like raping and killing a child, and that he'd like has seen it or something.
Yes, and that they were going to execute Mike Pence by firing squad.
I mean, God, man, what a life that guy's had. I mean, I guess like
one note though, he wasn't the actual guy Rockwell was playing. That was a different lawyer. Lin Wood met Jewell after all the stuff happened, and then helped him sue all the news organizations.
What?
Okay.
That's not nearly as funny. Never mind that.
Looks like you guys are racking up the Pinocchios today.
God, this is a news fail if ever I have heard one. Oh, brother, we're gonna hear it on news fails. You might even be news fail of the week.
All right, so
no.
I'm glad I knew that before, because I was going to be like, well, you know, if you went through that experience with what the FBI did to Richard Jewell, you might have some like rather outre beliefs about the federal government. But no, I guess this guy has no excuse. He's just a lunatic.
Well, I read an article about him, and apparently when he was like 2 years ago, he'd been a lawyer, and he's also the lawyer for Sandman, the smirking Covington child.
Oh, right.
He had some sort of nervous breakdown and had a born again religious experience where he turned to his family basically and said, I'm Christian now. You have to forgive me for everything I ever did to you. And they said, fuck off. And then he's been like in a like divorced guy shame spiral ever since.
That sucks when your father becomes based.
Yeah. Well, that's the worst, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he has been spiraling for sure. I mean, I guess like a lot of things that people are debating is like, is it good or bad for Twitter to ban the account of the president of the United States? And like, on this issue, it's just like, I mean, do we care? Does anyone really care? Like, I feel like I don't care enough about
it's
it
another
either
thing
way.
Where it's all about like managing your affect. It's like how concerned are you supposed to be about the Nazis? It's like, or the coup attempt. How much are you supposed to care about it? How much are you supposed to care when they ban the president? It's all about just managing like your emotional response to something that you can't control. Like the tech monopolies took over. They run our shit. It is hilarious that the Republicans are the only people who recognize that it's a public good. But they're too fucking dumb to notice that means that there's a lot of other shit that needs to be public goods too, not just the place where you put your posts. Like the only time you want public ownership is when it will like federally mandate your grandkid to click a thumbs up on your fucking Arlie Ermy meme.
Yeah, but I mean, there is something. I mean, this is one of my favorite things when the ban dropped. Is like there is something like especially funny about Twitter making this decision now, like after
Yeah.
they've extracted like all the value that they're going to ever get out of this guy being on their website. Because like, let's be honest,
Well-
he added an astonishing amount of value to Twitter. Like not just like
Oh my
in
God.
in terms of the good posts that we get to read and talk about, but I mean like
The way he said that like the media needed him and they would have failed without him. Same thing applies to Twitter, and he's right in both cases.
No, yeah, I saw somebody refer to the action to ban him as a victory of worker organization. Fucking, that's like a mean joke someone in China would make about America.
Yeah. It's like, oh, after all this ineffectual whining by people working for Google and Twitter and stuff, or Twitter to get rid of him, they decided to do it at this moment, right when he was like making them liable for treason. They decided to listen to you. That was it.
That's very first world workers seizing the means of production energy.
Yeah, exactly
Yeah.
that picture.
Yeah, but it really does show you that that this whole movement has been good for everybody. It's been good for Republicans. It's been good for Democrats in its own way. It's been good for the media, but it is now incompatible with the continuing smooth functioning of the machine that everybody is invested with. So he has now outlived his usefulness, and his supporters, their zeal for him is no longer useful. So there's going to have to be this like subtle severing away. And so it starts with Twitter saying, okay, that's the line. And now the Republicans are going to have to find a way to like sell out their constituents without getting murdered.
Well, you want to talk about like how people are dealing with it. Like I guess like the other thing to come out of the Wednesday's events at the Capitol was, I mean, a renewed demand from a number of different quarters for a call for like new domestic terrorism laws to deal with like this new threat now. And like there's like the chorus of voices like calling for this. I'm just gonna read from Ryan Grimm at the Intercept here. He says here, quote, "Can we just accept that the post 9/11 era is over?" Michigan Democrat Elisa Slotkin, a former Defense Department official who touted her experience as a CIA analyst and her expertise on terrorism and insurgencies when she ran for Congress in 2018, told MSNBC, quote, "We are in a new era." While noting that the external threats like Russia and China remained, Slotkin continued that, quote, "The single greatest national security threat right now is our internal division. It's the threat of domestic terrorism. It's that polarization threatens our democracy." So, like, let's pass a spate of new federal terrorism laws to deal with internal political division. Let's just end that division. Let's make laws to make it so you can't disagree.
No, don't you get it? It's like, yes, sure, the first war on terror involved totally wasteful, counterproductive attempts to protect the thing that was mostly ginned up by the state itself. But this one will be different because I don't like those people on Twitter and they annoy me.
Well, I mean, if it's anything like the last war on terror, it will end with us like supporting Trump separatists in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
100%.
Because we've created
it's all
something
gonna
worse.
Like this whole thing was to a degree managed, just in the sense that enough, like they did hold back every step from antagonizing them, and that had to have been some choice at some level. Like the degree of coordination is still up in the air, but we already know, like those hicks who tried to fucking kidnap the governor and put her on a boat, like they got stitched up just like the Miami Haitians and Jose Padilla, or even worse. And we're only going to get more of that. That's guaranteed.
But Felix, I'm like, I saw you reply to that guy Norm Ornstein, who's like he's like one of the good
Norm
Republicans.
Pornstein.
Yeah, and he's one of the good Republicans who's been like critical of the right wing turn of the Republican Party for a while. But he was one of these people calling for like we need new laws to deal with the kind of people and the thing we saw on Wednesday. And it was just like, I mean, the point that you made that like stuck with me is like, if you don't think that all the laws that we have already are like good enough, then why do we have them to begin with? I get like they're not protecting us if we need more fucking laws.
Yeah, I mean, like, forget the Patriot Act, which is already sort of gives them carte blanche to do whatever they want. What capability does the NSA not have to monitor people?
Right.
What capability does the FBI have not to detain people?
And in this case, they didn't even need any of that because they all said it on Facebook.
Yeah, no, they were all like on Nextdoor being like, "Hey, do you want to kill Lindsey Graham tomorrow?" Like, no, that's not the point. I mean, the thing is, like, as long as the Department of Homeland Security and all these agencies exist, their job will be to like stitch up, whoever the dumbest members of whatever group they're ostensibly supposed to be targeting are. And in this case, it was those yahoos in Michigan, but before it would be like, literally mentally disabled Muslim teenagers and asking them if they wanted to like assassinate Donald Rumsfeld. It's always going to be that, but any like inking a new law for it is, it's the same thing as Democratic governors banning jewel pods. We have to look like we're doing something here.
Yep. Yeah, just a illusion of motion forward while the machinery cranks on behind doing exactly what it was going to do anyway. But then you get a different thing to talk about and a different ball of string to bat around and another thing to wonder if you're worried enough about.
Yeah, everyone who like made hay over the FBI, like ridiculously and racistly, saying that the biggest threat to the country was black identity extremists, in 2017, which was, absurd and racist and insane and absolutely ruined people's lives, right? And now, a lot of people are now saying, okay, why don't we call these people terrorists? Why don't we apply anti-terror laws to them? That would mean giving more money to the people who said black identity extremists are the number one threat. They don't change. It doesn't like change hands. These are the same people. They believe the same things and they do the same job.
Yeah. The structures are independent of funding or authorization.
And to that point, though, like many of you, I'm sure, I definitely enjoyed seeing videos of these people like crying because they can't get on an airplane.
God, shut the fuck up, baby! You were going to overthrow the government. Pussy, shut the fuck up!
He put me on the no-fly list.
If I was one of these people, I swear to God, I would be disgusted. You fucking whining little pig. Like you're trying to overthrow the government. Have some fucking dignity. And like, it's like you're basically admitting that you thought that it was like it was like the Kid Rock Celebrity Cruise. You thought you were just having fun. You don't get to brag about this shit if you're like there's consequences.
And like
if you're either a threat to the system and you're going to stop the fucking pedophiles from overruling the government, or you're just fucking at a Buffett concert, you fucking pussy.
And like I said, the videos of being like they're treating me like I'm a terrorist and I can't fly. Funny, but also
there shouldn't be a no-fly list.
Should bring up the question of like there shouldn't be like the no-fly list in general. Like the fact that it
wrong with
exists
the
is a little weird.
no-fly list wasn't that it was disproportionately Muslim. That was not the problem with it. Adding white people to balance it will not make it better.
And like
the why don't you call it terrorism argument or whatever? Like it's like no, none of this changes. It doesn't make any of this good. The no-fly list should never have fucking existed. Gitmo should never have fucking existed. None of this shit should never have fucking existed. It's wrong to do it to Muslims. It's wrong. There are people in Gitmo who I'm sure somewhere in their heart wanted to attack America. It doesn't make it right to fucking put them there.
Well, if they didn't have that feeling before, they certainly do now. Yeah. So I guess we can't ever let them out because then they want to attack America.
People need to ask themselves, like, what do you really believe? Do you think that the government is really just the gloved fist of capital or not? Do you think that white supremacy and white nationalism are crucial weapons in the toolkit of capitalism to maintain its rule or not? If those things are true, then rooting, you could do it. You want to, you could root. I don't care if people root for anything, whatever. Do whippets. It doesn't matter. But just to think that it's going to be good to ratchet that up is lunacy. I'm sorry.
And along similar lines, like I said, like as much as we can all enjoy the prospect of and even video evidence of many of these boat dealership shitheads facing any kind of consequence for like the first time ever in their fucking shitty stupid lives is pretty fun. However, I gotta say I was have to raise an eyebrow at like all the shit I saw about people just like putting on their junior G-man badge to be like, oh, at FBI, me, look, so check out this person over here. Like, let's arrest, just doing the job of the
people
FBI in public. Like, and it's just like, look, like they don't need your help, and B, like, I just felt like the dominant ethos over the summer was just like ACAB, like, violence against the state is good, like, and then now just all these people volunteering to just fucking like help out the FBI do their job. It just seems
the same state, like the idea of like they're going to do it to us anyway. At least they're going to do it to them now. Well, then if you think that they're like you're a real threat to them, and that they're trying to defeat you, guess what? They won't. They won't do that because it's the same people. It's the same state. They will not act against their interests on your behalf because they're not acting on your behalf.
I did see that the QAnon shaman was just arrested in Arizona, though. And it was originally you showed that he is on a hunger strike because the jail won't give him organic meals.
Which is that's just a cruel parody of when prisons won't give halal meals, right? To Muslim prisoners or detainees, or they won't give vegan or vegetarian meals. Like that's just the most bullshit whiny thing. Like, oh, are these tomatoes organic?
It's also like a Babylon Bee article about Antifa.
Yeah,
Babylon Bee is so fucking funny, dude.
Yeah, I don't know
Have
how
you ever
they come up with some of that stuff,
oh
man.
my god!
It's just,
oh
it's
my
too,
god!
It's just
Oh,
they'd say
wow.
that. It's just
Did
every
you
time.
oh man, you see the one where it's like, Electoral College bans Ben Shapiro from speaking.
Oh god!
That guy, the QAnon shaman with the organic diet, he is an actor. He's a failed actor, and that half the people who are there were fucking filming themselves for their followers or hawking T-shirts that they sold on their own Etsy store. They're all doing this partially as a way to fucking make it. And the QAnon guy, the shaman, is just like, oh, I'm like the handsomest man in this room. Wherever I go with these people,
That's true.
They will
Any
all
room
look
he
at me.
goes in.
They will all worship me. And now, if I peacock with a cool hat, they will treat me like God. Why wouldn't I want to?
Oh no,
go to
yeah,
Washington?
it's the same thing as like the influencers and people like rightfully made fun of for doing glamour shots of themselves at BLM protests this
Same
summer.
thing.
It's the same idea. It's the same idea.
And it's like
Not saying that those like they're equivalent movements, but it's like the same thought
The
process.
same
It's
people.
The same type,
It's like
type
it's
of
just
person.
you're on one side or another of a cultural divide, and then you either choose one or the other. But it's the same impulse. It has nothing
Right.
really to do with politics.
And like to this idea about this like a planned insurrection that managed to like storm the barricades and like loot the Capitol building, but like once they got inside, like no one had any fucking clue or like demand or like any plan about what to do. They just what did they do? They started live streaming themselves, taking selfies of them, like farting in
Stealing
Nancy
AOC
Pelosi's chair. Yeah, stealing her. Okay. Put those on Etsy. I mean, come on.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, we got it. That's a buyer's market out there for those puppies. But yeah, like, and I just love the idea that like I didn't mention this on our last episode where we talked about it like the day after it happened. But like one of the funniest parts about Trump's actual address to the Stop the Steal rally is that all he talked about was like Oprah being mean to him. And didn't say anything about like the evidence or like any of the shit that these people are like hyped up about. They were like, "Where's
I had
the
to fight
evidence?"
against Oprah.
And then he just talked about, he complained about Oprah for like 20 minutes. And then he was like, bye-bye. All right, everybody go do your thing. And then they like,
And he's like, I'm going to go with you to the Capitol. And then he's like, no, I'm not going to do that.
And then-
God.
Did anyone in the world think he would do that?
I'm going to walk with the people to the Capitol.
yeah.
but you
Yeah,
know, like,
he's gonna do that.
like in the minds of these people, like, I mean, like they were loving, like, this was like this was play acting the storm. This was the thing that they'd all been waiting for, of like the people rising up, storming the halls of power, taking it over. And then like, obviously the fact that they were like, the Capitol Police seemingly was just like, right this way. Okay. Tour starts at 1:00. Just line up and just orderly. We'll just send you right in there to the floor of Congress. That being said, like that they could hold that thought in their head of like, this is it. We are beginning the revolution against like the armed revolution against like our oppressive, like evil, illegitimate government. And then they get in the building. Not only do they not cover their face and like have their cell phone on them at all times, they're live streaming the entire event, being like, "Hey, everybody, it's me, Will Maneker, here in Nancy Pelosi's office. That's right, me. I'm doing it." and then it's just like, and then they're like, "Oh shit. It seems like I've created something like a permanent record of this like."
It's me,
crime
Will.
I did.
Will Maneker doing crimes. Will Maneker of Brooklyn, New York, committing illegal acts right here.
One of them said that. One of them was like, his name was Dwight Evans or something. He said, Dwight Evans is in the Capitol.
That was the legislator. That was a West Virginia legislator.
Yes.
Dwight Evans in the building.
I'm still fixated on the idea that we need a Patriot Act for partisanship. And I kind of like the idea, honestly. And how I see it working is if you post something like, I don't care about the deficit, or Social Security is not in trouble, then you immediately get banned. There's no probable cause. You immediately get banned from like Twitter and TikTok and Facebook and everything, and then you get extraordinarily rendition to hot soup, where it's basically like those Saudi Arabian detox clinics they had for terrorists, where you learn to take practical ideas from both sides and put them together. And then eventually, you're deprogrammed after like 10 years or whatever. And then, you're released back into the general population.
Yeah, no, America can finally have re-education camps, but they're run by Ron Fournier and Michael Smirkonish.
Everybody's in fucking like the uniform is like David Brooks, like khakis. Or he just reads from the Book of Virtues every morning.
I've been noticing, by the way, I don't know who's been following Ron for the past year, but Ron's been, dude, no one's safe from it. Ron's been affecting a lot of AAV.
Really?
Well, yeah. Are we going to have to hold Ron accountable?
Well, no, I don't think anyone, even the most absurd campus cultural appropriation person, I don't think they could find it in their heart to yell at Ron. But it is funny when he's like, oh, someone been told you all about that.
Yeah. Well, he's just quote tweeting National Review articles that are like Trump's violating his own red line in Syria with y'all.
Yeah, he never did. We've followed him for 5 years. He never did that before. He never did that. I don't know what it is, but he's, at the age of 62 is yeah, no, I'm a blues man. But you know what? They should let him do it. It's fine. He's the only guy like that who doesn't annoy me when he does that.
It's
I think it's fine.
He's taking the best parts of every vernacular and just putting them together like his own kind of Esperanto of moderation.
Yeah.
Another thing I noticed about some of the people that we're now finding out about, because everyone's looking to sort of identify them now, like all the people on these photos and videos of ransacking the Capitol. It does seem like I wouldn't say a large percentage, but it does seem like of the people that are being identified, it just seems to be a strangely large or overrepresentation of Air Force colonels and intelligence officers. It's a little weird. One of the ladies that was found out was literally running one of an Air Force psyop operation. And this begs the question, who is psyoping who here?
Yeah,
that's
who's being played? This is
psyoped themselves. It's almost I kind of imagine it as so these guys are in the deep state. They work at doing the deep state's bidding, but they also think they're good people. And then they encounter, but they have to do bad things, and they live in a bad country, and it causes cognitive dissonance that they over time can't manage. And then Q comes along, and it allows them to kind of pull the fucking the tablecloth away, leave the flowers standing, and supply a new basis of oh, I actually am. There are white hats, and I'm one of them.
Yeah,
there's white hats, and I'm one of them. And then by acting as a white hat, I will have faith that all the other white hacks who surely must work amongst me will work together, and we will essentially just will ourselves into power.
Yeah, I think that I did also notice the Air Force thing, and I was thinking about it a lot too. I think I might have told this story on the show or somewhere else before, but one time when I was working as a bouncer at a bar, we had to throw this guy out, and one of the other bouncers working with me was just he was wearing a camo Minnesota Twins flat brim, and the guy was like, "Hey, I was in the Air Force. I fought for your right to wear camo." So I always think about that when the Air Force comes up. But I think
the Air Force is interesting.
I think the reason is obviously there really are no good jobs in the military, but I think the Air Force is probably if you really think about it, it probably feels the least defensible, right? If you're infantry and you kill somebody, you can be well, they were shooting at me. What the fuck am I supposed to do? I needed to. How else am I going to go to Disney World or buy a Dodge Charger? Blah blah blah. Or if you're in the Navy, it's going to be oh, I just drove a ship around and I got lost a lot. But if you're in the Air Force, you are fucking dropping 1 million tons of explosives on guys wearing sandals and killing the civilians, and I think you probably do need something. And Air Force guys are usually way more susceptible to right wing crank shit.
I was
and it's
gonna say,
probably because it's it is I mean, like, who gives a shit about their trauma, versus the people they're doing it to? But it is probably, like, not psychologically good for you to be in the Air Force and actually drop bombs on people and be involved with that.
Well, out of like all the branches of the military, especially in like their officer class, like the Air Force has always had this like weird, like, I don't know, penetration by like, I mean, there was like James Dobson's focus on the family. Like they had a big presence of like, sending people, like recruiting people and then sending them, or sort of like, I don't know, I won't say infiltrating, but like there's always been this sort of like, like sort of clique, I guess, in like the upper ranks of like the Air Force in particular, of like really like sort of ideological, dyed in the wool, like right wing sort of fundamentalist people. Like, one of the guys in the photos was like apparently like a retired Air Force colonel, but like a pretty high up one. And like the thing about that is like, I'm sure like most of these people like in the upper ranks of the military are like probably pretty dull, stupid people in like most respects. But like to get there, like you have to be like a pretty like smart, organized, or at least just sort of like a put together kind of person. It's like you have a lot of responsibility over like a very large bureaucracy that you're like accountable for. So, I mean, it's just funny to me that like that's where they're ending up now.
Well, there is another thing to it. This is true in Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, but in those countries, like if you're royal or royal adjacent, or you're upper middle class, so to say, as close of an equivalent as we have to here, right? You're not going to go into the army, are you? I mean, the army's for fucking villagers. It's for Colombians that you pay to be in there. You're going to go into the Air Force, and I think it's not a one-to-one thing, but I think in general, in countries that have an actual Air Force, like Saudi Arabia or like here, it's the closest thing to the cavalry.
Yeah.
Like, that's where you go. Like, you can't, like, if you want to be a pilot, you have to have, like, some level of education and some background in it. And I think that, generally, if you're, like, military, like, you are someone who would be in the cavalry at any other time period, you're probably more susceptible to, like, far right-wing political.
And not only that, but like also like all cults though, like I like all cults, like whether it's QAnon or like anything else, it's actually the people who are more susceptible to it are people who have higher levels of education. And like that's why, like, in analyzing, like, who were these people who stormed the Capitol, it's like they weren't like just like toothless, shoeless rubes. Like these were people who did have like businesses, a certain amount of wealth, and education, because I think like you have to be like, to even be interested in this shit, or or know what they're talking about to begin with, implies a certain level of engagement or education that like you wouldn't otherwise have if you were just like, if they were just like the like how they're like, a lot of people like to portray them as like the absolute fringes of society, like some sort of like fever base of like sort of juggalo conspiracy people or something like that, and not like fairly normal fucking middle of the like sort of suburban yahoos.
Yeah, Felix, the best example of what you're saying is Bobby Bush, right? That's literally why he joined the military. He left Yale to join the Air Force and become a fighter guy, because he said, "Oh, it's like being a knight in the sky."
Yeah. Bobby Bush, by the way, youngest naval aviator in history.
Congrats to him.
Just a little tidbit. If you want to get a girl fucking wet, tell her that.
Actually, one note: there was not an Air Force back then.
No, it was the Army Air Force. He was a Navy pilot.
He was a Navy pilot, yeah, but there wasn't the Air Force's separate branch.
Yeah.
And there shouldn't be. Let's nip this in the bud by
you're right. Let's just get rid of the Air Force. There's no need to have it.
It should not exist. It was administrative. It was post-war administrative bloat that never should have happened. Get rid of the Air Force.
And like, who's going to be in charge of the sky?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Navy.
No, the Navy.
The Navy. Can't be the Navy. They're in charge of the sea.
Goose.
You can't have two things.
Goose. Maverick. Iceman. Sidewinder. Joker. Those are all Navy aces. Fuck the Air Force.
The Navy is the sea of the air. I don't know about having the Joker involved with that. Seems like you're just asking for tears, though.
You need the sky. You need the different branches. I'm sorry. I mean, you need the land one. You need the
maybe you could just have Space Force do
sea
it.
one. You need the air one. Well, space is another different thing, and you need the underground one.
Yes, we need Mole Force.
The Mole Man.
Well, how is Q? I wish we'd asked Will Summer that. Like, how's it going with the mole people? Because that was my favorite QAnon storyline.
Yeah.
Mole people.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
there was a thing where it was like Donald Trump is rescuing the mole people.
Yeah, you remember like at the height of no, you remember
Like-
this?
like,
no,
he wouldn't
during the
just,
height of COVID, when like that military hospital ship docked in New York Harbor to like take excess
Yeah, they
like,
were going to
medical
liberate
capacity.
the mole people. I remember
The
that.
QAnon thing was like that medical ship is where that they were taking all of the mole children and mole people who have been kept in underground tunnels as sex slaves by the Illuminati elite. They were liberated from a massive underground facility and put onto the Army hospital ship in New York Harbor.
Like Donald
I
Trump
remember that
wouldn't
when
just
that
be
happened.
like disgusted with mole people.
Oh my God, disgusting mole people.
I've never been a fan of
Horrible,
moles.
disgusting mole
I've
people.
never been a fan of moles. I don't like them.
He would be so mean to like a Hans Molman type guy who's wearing a potato sack. He would
Oh,
be so
gross. He
fucking
feels
mean
like
to
a
him.
peanut. Ah. We had a great lost riff where we were reading the tweets of a woman who loved Trump and thought he was going to use his presidency for pit bull rescue.
Oh my
Oh,
God, I love
yeah.
that. I love that riff.
And we were just dying because there's no one on earth who would kill every dog, forget pit bull, every dog on earth with a push of a button to Donald Trump. Disgusted by it.
He hates dogs. Except for that hero dog. And even
Yes.
then he was acting. I mean, I gotta figure pit bulls are probably the most popular dog with like QAnon women, right?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
definitely. The
Oh, yeah,
one
big
who
time.
Bobert is a pit bull mom.
Of course
What?
she is. Yeah.
What else was that woman's deal? Like she was threatening to sue the Washington Post for like $30 million because they wouldn't run her pro pitbull savior ads.
yeah.
It was some elaborate cockamamie scheme like that was going to end up with liberating all the pit bulls.
Yeah. I miss that woman. That's like
Yeah, she rolled.
no, yeah. That's like why all those like stupid things that are like, why a populist blah 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 can succeed. Really, it's like you just have to activate like every woman like that. Like that's
Yeah.
the story of Trump's success. Like we talked about it with, the woman who is just drunk at the voter fraud thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, every woman who like files a frivolous lawsuit.
Yeah.
That's the secret to Republican success.
Yep. That I believe that the woman who got killed by the Secret Service had some sort of legal dispute with her husband's ex-girlfriend or something.
Yeah, no, yeah, she was that type of person like 10 years ago wouldn't vote. They would just
Yeah.
be like your aunt who like always like hits you up about a fraudulent business opportunity. But now she's like so politically active, she's dying at the Capitol building.
Yep, and that's true of dudes too. A lot of dudes who would just be like into, vaping or something are now decided that politics are it. A lot of them cynically. Like apparently there is some guy who was like some sort of Brooklyn like gay tastemaker, and then he got Me Too'd, and then now he's storming the Capitol.
Yeah, his name is Matt
Like just people
Christman.
were like, "Oh, that's where no, that's not true. It's not that is false. I'm suing you for that." Very unfair. Very unfair. Will
It's
a lot of them just like, hey, that's where the money is. That's where the eyeballs are. That's where the rubes are.
It's also a lot of, on the male sense, a lot of divorce guy energy. I
Oh,
remember
big
reading one indictment of a guy who he just sent a bunch of threatening text messages to his moron friend, brought a bunch of guns to the Capitol. The FBI came to his hotel room and said, hey, can we search your shit? And he said, yeah, sure. Like, can we search your phone? Like, yeah. And they put all the text in the indictment. This guy actually slept in and missed the fucking storming of the fucking Capitol building. But so they searched his car, and they literally wrote this in the indictment. Among the stuff they found, they found all the ammunition and the guns and shit. They also found just low T pills. They found like
Injectable
Nugenics.
testosterone. Yes.
Well, Virgil, you bring that up. Another thing I've been seeing is like a lot of these people that are getting like scooped up after the fact, after being like identified as taking part of this. A lot of the people who snitched on them like were their ex-wives. Like their ex-wives are the ones who like notified the feds to be like, yeah, I know that guy. His name is blah blah blah. And I was married to him for 6 years.
We need
Asshole
to
is still not
Wife is
returned my
knife.
leaf blower.
Wife is knife.
we need to have a conversation about carceral ex-wives.
We need restorative justice instead of a punitive system.
Well, Matt, like you said,
Am I right, guys?
Matt, you said like that's where the rubes are. And like, I said earlier that like a lot of people would love to portray, the people who are into QAnon or the people who stormed the Capitol as being like representing some kind of like rump fringe of American politics and like or not like, culturally, economically, politically in every way, like people fairly within, I think could fairly be called a kind of mainstream as far as that goes in America. If just but the thing is, despite the fact that, like, yes, these people are of a higher income bracket than, like, they're certainly not, I would say, overwhelmingly working class. But that being said, like, money and education in America today is no inoculation whatsoever about being an absolute, like, slack-jawed rube, like mouth agape, flies buzzing around you rube. So to call someone a rube doesn't necessarily mean that they're a low class.
Well,
pig.
I mean, all these people have decided that even if they weren't going to die for Trump, they were going to go to Washington, D.C. and try to overthrow the government for Donald Trump. I cannot respect that. I can't respect it.
No.
You know the man, right? You've seen him on television. If you see him and think that there's anything positive there, anything worth suffering for, then you have put a knitting needle up your nose and like scooped out your frontal lobe. I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, I mean, it goes back to the frivolous lawsuit thing. And like people who have, their careers having like 5 simultaneous MLM schemes going, and they think that they're on top of things and they're a genius entrepreneur, or like the Robinhood stock morons that you see on Twitter, the cryptocurrency idiots who convince themselves of their own fraud. They see Trump and they intuit, oh, this he's a business genius because he's defrauded the most people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like him.
The most people. Yeah, and we're all in this together, right, Donald?
Yeah, right? And then when he they just have to compartmentalize it when they have their oath protests, and he drives through with a cattle catcher in the front of his car, just a white glove from the window. We're all in this together.
In reading, some of the reactions to like, because like when Trump finally had to go out there and say that like there will be a peaceful transition of power and a new administration will be inaugurated like the day of this thing happening, and like reading a lot of the reactions of the true believers. I mean, like a lot of them feel like very betrayed and they're like surprised. They're like, we were doing this for him. He asked us to do this. Like, how could he turn around and do that to us now? And it's just like, yeah, Matt, it's just like what you said. Like, it's just like, who were you watching on TV the last 20 years? Yeah. Like, who the fuck do you think this guy is?
Sold out everyone he ever dealt with, was never faithful to a wife, was never faithful to a business partner, never succeeded at anything other than by scamming people.
Never paid a single contractor.
You don't have.
I'm
sorry, but like you're paying attention. The fact that he was on TV and he looked like he knew what he was doing when he was firing Meatloaf.
It's one of the hardest decisions anyone's ever had to make.
I'm sorry. You have to put more thought into it than that.
Well, as long as we're talking about people who have given themselves lobotomies, or like what's going to take the place of the Q people now that they've all been pretty much universally banned from like all social media platforms. We talked about it at the very beginning, but honestly, the number one contender, the people who are coming out of the gate hot, is the K Hive. Like the K Hive, they have the brain power. They have the brain power and like the mind palace to rival Q. And like the thing that like just immediately clocked it, literally saying that Vanity Fair magazine has committed treason by putting a photo of Kamala Harris on the cover of their new issue where she's wearing sneakers. Like I didn't imagine that. Like that was a thing that like
look, millions of Republicans
furious
are challenging
about that.
her legitimacy as vice president, and they're going to see her on the shirt, the magazine, looking very nasty, and then they're going to even more believe that.
What I don't get is, do they think it's like a creep shot or something? Like she's just walking around and they snap the picture?
She's not dignified enough or hot enough. I don't know how
she looked.
She posed for the photograph. She posed for the photograph.
She looked fine. She's posing for the photograph, and the fact that she wears like she wears Converse or like Timberlands has been something that she has fucking played up relentlessly as part of her like, hey, I'm a cool girl just like you, fucking personality, charm offensive for like months now. And then they used the photo of like the outfit like that, I don't know, she was wearing or she chose to wear, someone dressed her in, and they were like, okay, that photo. I'm like, nope. My sources say the death penalty for Anna Wintour is being considered for treason.
Hey man, banana winter, man. No one's eating going to her hot dog stand. You know what? I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
Man, from
they were
from Trump to
incensed
Biden,
over that.
Condé Nast can't catch a break.
No, yeah, it's a rough time to run a fashion magazine. They've been the locus of all presidential focus for it'll be 8 years of that. I don't know if the industry will ever recover.
You know what that's called realignment. Now that the left has taken the mantle of being anti Anna Wintour.
Yeah. Well, do you remember that Trump wanted to appoint Anna Wintour to be ambassador to the UK? It just
What?
that's the sliding scales. It's like me.
Do you remember who he actually gave it to?
Woody Johnson.
Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets.
But no, that's the thing. It's like Democrats get in Graydon Carter as king. Republicans get in Anna Wintour as queen. That's the only difference.
But I truly believe that the K-Hive will inaugurate the QAnon, but for the Biden administration of the next 4 years. Like they will become the most insane and baroque conspiracies, and they will be talking about sealed indictments for this podcast or Bernie Sanders or something.
Well, yeah, no, and it's the stylistic difference between Democrats and Republicans. For a Republican, you make an insane personality cult based on dying for a guy who's never done anything for anybody and doesn't like anyone. It has never sacrificed anything. And for Democrats, you make an insane personality cult for someone who just inspires nothing in anyone else. You are operating at a frequent it's like when there's a frequency only dogs can hear.
I honestly kind of think that they credit her total lack of any kind of affect or charisma or character to her benefit, because it means she didn't cheat her way to the top by using likability or personality to get people to like her. She just had to be that good.
Well, yeah, that has been a liberal thing, that it's sexist to talk about a politician's likability.
Yeah,
that isn't the thing they focus on.
Yeah, that's why people vote for these fucking people. People like Donald Trump. You might not get it, but they fucking just more than anything, they like him. Everything is built on the like. Everything came later after that.
They like him so much that they created 100,000 pages of collaborative fiction about why he's actually doing a good job.
Yeah.
That's what QAnon is more than anything. It's I like this guy. Here's an insane novel. Here's what's the Bible called for Hinduism again?
That's really long. Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, about why he's a good president with a 50,000 other idiots.
Yes.
Matt, I remember we were talking a while ago about a Glenn Beck and his whiteboard, and how figures like him are now trying to get back on the train. Or for instance, Alex Jones was screaming about I'm sick of QAnon. Don't tell me this crap anymore, because it's they're competing for the same market share.
Yes,
but the
Yes.
genius of QAnon and the phenomenon that even if Q goes away, the phenomenon that it's created will not, which is that we're everyone is drawing arrows on a whiteboard now. The whiteboard
that's
is now,
everybody. We're all
it's crowdsourced. It's it's a crowdsourced collaborative sort of storytelling and investigation to figure out what is reality.
Well,
it's an augmented reality
it's
sim.
very Philip K. Dick. It's extremely Philip K. Dick. This kind of this crowdsourced collective delusion in which we are all figuring out that we're insane by contributing to our ongoing schizophrenic break from reality.
Well, another place where they did that, created collaborative fiction about the deep state, Turkey.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It was another case where it was there actually was a deep state that actually did do a lot of bad stuff, but it was a mentally ill way of reconciling with Gladio and the Cold War, in the same way that Q is. It's where you identify one or two correct things, but the rest is just a combination of MLM religion, scams, being an evangelical, just being a sort of consciously credulous person.
Well, what it is,
but it is at the end of the day, it's more than anything. It's just the DMT visions at your death, and that death is the death of empire. That's what you do when the empire is over. You have to come up with incredible fantastical fiction that's partly based on real things, but is mostly like you coming to terms with like why you had to be alive to see the empire fall. Yeah. Like it isn't fair. Why can't it go? Why can't it like at least extend to my lifetime? That's what all of this is. It's like for everyone. For everyone in like mainstream American politics, it's like, why does this have to end in my lifetime?
Yeah, why do I have to get the shithead? Why am I the one standing when the music stops? And this is bullshit. We were promised it wouldn't be us. What the fuck? We thought until very recently it wouldn't be us. And I have to say, although I made fun of them and said that I don't respect any of their intelligence because they were conned by Donald Trump, and I'm sorry, I don't. I have to say though, if we're all being buffeted by the horrible precarity of incipient like globalized commodification of everything, while all like the material basis for our underlying economy collapses, we're all fucking trying to figure out what's going on, and like we can all of us on the left can pat ourselves on the back that we've solved it. We know the right answer. We're not idiots like these guys with their stupid prescriptions and their dumb hoodoo. We have a material understanding. That's luck, man, because where we end up in like our cultural understanding, our like heuristic for evaluating the world and making sense of it, it's determined demographically. It's not determined by your decisions and your virtue as a person. Like over the populations, it boils down to where you grew up, who you grew up around, what you grew up watching. And that when you find yourself in distress and wanting to understand why the world is the way it is, you seek the cultural explanation, the people around you and what they're all putting out into the fucking ether and then sucking back in, because we're all in these like segmented cultural ghettos. And so it's only going to create idiocy. It can only create incoherent idiocy because it's not grounded in anything. It doesn't come from class experience. It doesn't come from common struggle. It comes from experience as media consumers in a market.
Well, before we sign off for today, I'd just like to just return to the beginning, return to where we started out today. Donald Trump's Twitter account is no more. It's gone forever, lost and gone. But I mean, I would just like to take the phrase "bad food restaurant," embroider it on a banner, and raise it to the rafters. As I look, because like that phrase, "bad food restaurant." It's just Trump's style of tweeting, his way of talking, but like his Twitter account in particular, I truly believe like is the Pontypool mind virus that has probably caused the apocalypse. Like I think it's just it is spread to all of us. It is the prodromal schizophrenia that we're never ever going to get rid of. And the thing is, I like it has changed the structure of my brain. Like I think and talk like Trump now because it's fun. We all do.
It's really fun.
We love it, don't we, folks?
Yes, we love to do it. It's tremendous.
He's done the most to change the English language of anyone in the past 4 years, and he pretty much unilaterally kept that website afloat for the past 4 years.
Absolutely, and all these Republicans talk like him now.
Yeah, no, Donald Trump, I think it's safe to say, has a greater cultural legacy than Barack Obama.
Well, yeah, no, Barack Obama only set the stage for Trump to enter. Like, he was a void on purpose. That was what he was getting off on, the little sicko, was being not there. And that just created a silhouette for fucking Trump to burst through like the goddamn Kool-Aid man.
He is the greatest poster of all time, and it is not even close. Nobody has done more with the medium of Twitter than he will, and we will never see his likes again.
The king.
What I like the most about the purge, the day of the post, is when, like the day after, Trump called a meeting with his advisors and they strategized about how to get him posting again.
We got to get him out there. We got to get him posting.
This is like the national security crisis in the Situation Room. And they're just like looking at dots on a screen like, well, there's Parler. There's TikTok.
He's, I think he probably like put more personal thought into this than he did COVID. And it's like, you know
really
what? He
did. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go where your heart is.
You okay, like Felix, do you think that like back in December of last year when like the first memo came across his desk being like global pandemic headed to the United States, like like projections of upwards of 500,000 dead if like XYZ isn't followed. Do you think that like that set off the alarms in his brain to the same degree as him getting banned from Twitter did?
No, absolutely not. Yeah. I mean, like maybe it made him like upset, as we all were.
He probably didn't call a meeting with his like entire cabinet about what we do about this.
It probably made him upset in the way that we were all upset when we found out that it's not safe to eat pangolin stew anymore. But no, he probably maybe someone mentioned it in passing, and he's like, "Oh, that would be bad. Good thing it's not happening." No.
What I feel bad for the most is it's not just for Trump. I mean, well, it's not about Trump. I don't give a shit about him. It's the various Trump reply remoras, like the Dr. Eugene Goos of the world, who
Jeff Tiedrick.
I feel like they're all just going to die off, like when we pollute the ocean and kill a freaking coral reef, and it's just a delicate ecosystem that just dies now.
It is very sad. I mean, Jeff Tiedrick, I think, will take it in stride because Jeff Tiedrick, he's not like these other people who just like weren't doing anything and then became Trump reply guys. Like, he was a Crooks and Liars guy.
Yeah.
The Smirking Chimp.
Smirking Chimp.
He did run the Smirking Chimp. He still does. He put in his time. I respect Jeff Tiedrick. But the other one, like, I don't know where Dr. Eugene Goo goes.
No.
Hopefully nowhere. I don't know where the Palma report goes.
True Facts
Oh, that
Stated.
douche.
True
Funder.
Facts Stated.
Scott Funder.
We
The Krasensteins.
Scott-
You see their
Tony
video? that they-
Poznansky.
Yeah. Yeah. Palma report is my least favorite. I hate the videos he retweets.
Palma report.
The Palma report. I mean, Funder. It's so funny that guy's name's Funder. Scott Dworkin.
Funder.
Scott Funder.
Scott Funder.
Dworkin. Andrea Dworkin's son. I think he probably just still like does bullshit things where it's like, hey, give me $5 to wish Joe Biden a happy birthday. I think Dr. Eugene Goo is just like, he disappears into the ether, probably, right?
Yeah,
Like,
he dissolves like Leonard Nimoy.
This is very end of Animal House. Like, Dr. Eugene Goo developed one of the vaccines for coronavirus 48 hours after leaving Twitter.
I think it's like the end of Evangelion. Congratulations. Congratulations.
And you know, like-
Dr. Eugene.
They all get medals pinned on them.
Yeah, they're all Misato is Alyssa Milano.
We can debate about who's being authoritarian here. Big tech for censoring the president, or the president for demanding that they allow him to have a Twitter account. But here's the thing: I am of the sort of boutique moral, ethical, and political position here that I would like to see Donald Trump die in prison for, I don't know, being Donald Trump, for living his entire life up until this second.
No, his life
But-
is a crime. Siring his sons is a crime.
But I would like to see him put in prison, and like put in prison also like without trial, like a pure show trial political prosecution. But I would like to have him be able to tweet for the rest of his life. I would like to maintain his access to social media and posting while he is in ADX Florence Supermax prison.
Well,
Absolutely.
there's no reason why prisoners shouldn't be able to tweet, period.
Yeah,
Don't be Vern Schillinger's Prague parties are a disgrace. No one goes to them anymore.
Adebisi's hat is no longer on his head. Very not good.
Oh, great. Augustus Hill is boring everyone with his tedious monologues in the middle of the prison.
Oh God. Well, R.I.P. to the greatest Twitter account of all time.
Yeah, the poster's poster. There will be no others like.
No one has ever accomplished what he has.
And by that I mean like destroy the United States of America. Like pretty much lead to the collapse of like the American state. Like, so good job.
Yeah, way to go, dude. That's some hustle.
You did it. I love
Everyone
you.
else has been trying
Without
to do
ever
it with
trying
social
to do
media.
any of it. That's the amazing thing.
You know,
Did it all on an accident.
I don't know if you guys also think this, but the posts are markedly worse now. It's like everyone's kind of in
Posts are very bad.
everyone's kind of in a shell shock. It's like there's no energy coming into the site anymore.
It's true.
The past 2 weeks of posting have been like among the worst I've ever seen.
It's been very
So
poor
bad.
posting.
So bad.
Yeah, really dog shit. I don't know. There needs to be, I guess there needs to be, I don't know what there needs to be. Maybe like a new object of people's. Maybe it's like, you know how in
New
Dark
object
Souls-
just dropped.
You know, like, so like in Dark Souls, when you like kill everyone in hell, you have to become like the god of hell, kind of. I don't know. This is like another Wikipedia article I read really late, but you have to like live in an apartment in hell to like protect everyone, I guess. So there has to be like, maybe it is Jeff Tiedrick. Like Jeff Tiedrick has to be like the new Trump, the new guy that everyone yells at.
You know what it is, Felix? You know what it's like, Felix? It's like at the end of Chronicles of Riddick, where Riddick defeats the what they call the necromages, but like then he has to become king of the necromages.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what Jeff Tiedrick has to do. Yeah.
Well, somebody has to do it. Somebody has to just step up and be the next Trump and emulate the same kind of derangement and total narcissism and just dickishness.
It can't be copied, though.
It can't be copied because he's sui generis. Even the Republicans who try to copy him, even like all of these like social media consultant assholes who try to copy him, it always falls flat because nothing is like the real
And
thing.
speaking of Republicans falling flat, like there are Republicans who are not trying to copy him because they are too... they're too soy bitch made bow tie fucking nerds, but like they tried to copy him in so much as that they like support him with these stupid resolutions about the election. Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz got fucking washed by this. Do you think that they were feeling this? They were feeling their oats up until like they were like the very thing that they were fucking like trying to basically like gratify these people with led them to fucking storm the Capitol, and then they were like, oh, I know, the violence I saw was shocking. We stand with all the Capitol police officers, and it's just like, guess what? Now you lost them too. The very fucking cretins that you were trying to like flatter with your like to give an intellectual veneer to this absolute horseshit. So bye-bye, throw them in the fucking toilet. Just Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, only fit for the sewer pipe.
Well, I'm sick as shit of the Ted Cruz consultant soy posts. And,
I hate, yeah.
And to be fair, to both sides, this one, frankly, I'm sick of the AOC arguing with Ted Cruz, epic comeback posts.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah,
none of that. Stop posting politicians.
It's by the same fucking social media
same
firm.
person.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, it's just like two people across, like sitting in desks across from each other. I think like the only guy who I think has a totally genuine form of dementedness and self-centeredness and narcissism.
Drill, you heard of this guy?
I think Joe Biden has it, but he's not. Joe Biden will never post for himself.
No.
It would be awesome if he did.
No.
But it's
Oh, gosh. I remember the Sonny and Cher show.
everything would everything would be on Twit longer.
Everything would be just screenshots of a Word document.
Yeah.
That goes for multiple pages and just cuts off midway through.
He had an awesome week where he said that guy was a one-horse pony. Then he
oh god, yeah,
that was awesome. Then he said President Trunt.
President Trunt. President Trunt.
Joe Biden gave the worst speech anyone's ever given.
Yeah, it was not reassuring. If people were worried about the Joan and like whether they was going to be there to get us through the choppy waters, it was not reassuring.
Joe Biden is, I think, I said this, in 2018, and I still believe it. I think put all the pieces on the table, he is funnier than Trump, but it's just we never see him. They never let him out to play.
It's
when they're like, Joe, the country's hurting. You need to give the shittiest speech.
And then his speech is it's like George Orwell wrote an Animal Farm. He says, there's some pigs with 2 feet and some with 4, but they're still pigs, man. They're good pigs.
Listen, man. I remember when I was killed during the 1964 Freedom Riders. That is my message. Let Joe out to play. If you're his
let him run buck.
Yeah.
We gotta squeeze some more juice out of this fucking lemon. This is a huge come down. We got to step on this stuff because he's not going to post, so he's got to do something.
Yeah, give us Joe videos daily.
Oh
videos.
God,
you should get on
if he
TikTok.
could start,
Joe on TikTok.
if he's like the TikTok president, now we're talking. Joe on TikTok. That could be be acknowledging the changing media habits of the young consumers.
Yeah, just ask him about cultural events.
Yes. Did you see Soul, Mr. President?
Yeah. Listen, man. I was one of the first guys. I came up with the idea for the movie Soul Plane. I said, "There's no reason why a black guy can't own an airplane." One of the first guys to ever say that.
All right, gang, let's wrap it up there. Until next time, everybody, just watch the posts.
Watch the posts.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Maybe I could love myself. Maybe my life could have a greater value. That's right. I am no more or less than myself. I am me. I want to be myself. I want to continue existing in this world. My life is worth living here.
Congratulations! Congratulations! Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations! Congratulations! Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Thank you all.